Welcome, everyone, to Life Beyond 6 Feet. I'm Damien from RKB Paranormal, and this week I have a very special episode. I have my really good friend of a very long time and a team member of RKB Paranormal. Ted, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, nice to meet you. Thank you.
Oh, nice to meet you too, sir.
Yeah.
Anyway, me and Ted, God, we've known each other at least a good 15 years or so, maybe longer.
Right. Yeah.
And one of our common interests since we've known each other has always been the spooky shit, paranormal, even the horror stuff. But kind of tell everybody kind of what got you into the paranormal, kind of what I got those kind of gears turning in your head. Like, man, that's some cool stuff. I'd like to chase after that one day.
Yeah. My family, like my granny, my my mom, my uncle and aunt, they all lived in Cotton Town, and they lived in a house that was built on a Indian reservation.
No hell.
And she would tell me like a lot of stories of somewhat what went on in that place. And it was like way before my time, but my granny one night said that the doors kept opening and shutting. She heard a lot of bangs. Shit moved all the time. And like my granddaddy was a real estate agent, so he was gone all the time. So he really didn't experience anything because he would come home late, and so it was just them, my granny, and all of them. They all experienced all that, and I was like, oh crap, I would like to see stuff or see something move or something like that. So I was, when I got older, well, from as far as I can remember, I think it was starting at 5. I was going back and forth to Georgia, and she lived in a 2-story house. And my first encounter with something paranormal was late one night watching horror movies and sitting on the bed, chilling. And coming up the stairs I heard like a bell, like a cat would have on its collar or something. I heard that, and I was like, nah, it's something on the movie, I didn't think that much of it. So I was just sitting there watching again, and then I heard it again, but it was like closer, and it was like right beside the bed, and I was like, what the hell? I was like, it's still on the movie, ain't really nothing. Then I heard it under the bed.
Oh, hell.
So, yeah. So I think there was like on the nightstand in the drawer, I think, she had a couple of collars in there, and one of them had a bell on them. So I opened that up, and of course, it was in there, but it didn't move or anything. So anyway, I heard it again while I was looking underneath the bed, and that kind of freaked me out. And this was like at 1:00 in the morning, so I ran down the stairs to my granny's room, and I was like, I'm freaked out. I heard a bell, and it come, it was coming up the stairs, and I heard it under the bed and all this stuff. And she was like, don't be scared or anything. It's Pierre. And I was like, who the hell is Pierre? And she said, well, it was one of her dogs that passed away like a couple of years, before me. And she had it stuffed.
Oh,
and that was pretty freaky. And then I saw the bell on its collar. So I heard it one more time, and I called out Pierre, and and all that. And then a lot of stuff's going through my head, and I can't even think.
So your first paranormal encounter was with a ghost dog.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's pretty crazy. I don't really know what I would do at 5 years old, hearing a jingling bell, and then my grandmother say, "Oh, that's just my dead dog."
Yeah. It was
So
pretty creepy, and I was like, "What the hell?"
That's creepy, but it's awesome at the same time. For what we do and what we're into and stuff. So what's some other stuff that you kind of encountered growing up?
Uh, I hadn't encountered this, but I know that my great great granddaddy built a house, and he died in that house. Um, my great granny died in that house. My granddaddy passed away in that house.
Oh man.
So all them people is in that house. But I hadn't experienced anything in that house, but I do know that one of my friends saw my great granny, and he, you know, explained her to a T, and we're like, yeah, that's Lee Bell.
Oh wow.
She's but like my mom heard like her she used to stuff her feet
Mm-hmm.
when she walked. She used to slide her feet, and she's heard that. Everybody else has heard that, and I hadn't heard it. Um, my other great granny, she passed away, and then one night went up to the cemetery, and we was trying to talk to her,
Mm-hmm.
communicate with her. We had one of those digital recorders, and we didn't hear anything there. But when we got back to the house, we heard I heard my mom say, "Well, Brett, we're here. We're trying to communicate with you. We're trying to tell you that we love you and all this stuff. And then just right after that, plain clear as me and you were talking, we heard, "I'm here," and I
Oh
was
wow.
like, "Holy crap!" So
Oh
had that, and I'm trying to think of stuff, but my head is blank right now.
well,
It's
man,
weird.
like I said, we worked together. This was just something we always kind of talked about. In between, throwing truck and all this other stuff. Because working at Walmart, we had to pass the time somehow. So
Yeah, right.
and what about this experience? I remember, yeah, I think it's in your bio for the website about something experience at I think it was your grandfather's house. So they said it was like you heard somebody in the back room arguing or something like that, and
Oh yeah, yeah. Um, it was at my mom's trailer, and we were just all sitting there in the because way when you go in, there's a living room, and then right to the right is a bathroom, and then a bedroom. But if you go through the living room, through the kitchen, there's a little hallway, and it leads to the bedroom in there. So it's like right around in that area is where we heard some two guys arguing, and it
hmm,
sounded like over like a maybe a poker match or something.
hmm,
So because we the arguing, I mean, it was loud. It was like the TV in here. I don't know
hmm.
if you can hear it, but I mean, it was pretty damn loud. And then I asked my mom about it, and she said it was one of my relatives. I think it was, if I can remember right, I think it was like my great great granddaddy, because he would like to argue a lot too.
Right.
On top of poker and stuff, he would argue with anything. So yeah,
Hmm.
that was pretty wild.
I bet just to be sitting there like just chilling, hanging out, whatever, and start hearing two random people. It's not even in the house
Well, we
screaming at
thought it
each
was
other.
right, because we thought it was a TV again. I mean, we didn't really think of nothing of it, but the way the trailer sits, it sits like that, and then it's like you go in that little hallway. There's a door that's leading out, like it would be the um, back way.
Right.
Well, it goes to the old house, to where my mom and them lived in Hickman whenever they moved from um, Cottontown. They moved into that house, and that's where we heard it.
Hmm.
So that was pretty wild.
Yeah, that is. And speaking of Hickman, did you ever frequent Ghost Town quite a bit?
Yes. When I worked at Cracker Barrel, I don't know how but my mom found out about this place. It's called, I guess they call it Ghost Town,
Mm-hmm.
because I know that's what we called it. But we went there like quite a bit, like on the weekends, and we would sneak in there. At the time, you could actually sneak and go in there without a problem. Like now, they got it all fenced off. But
Mm-hmm.
um, from what I can understand about that place, it was like maybe a hotel, maybe I think. And
I
then
think so. Yeah.
like at the end of it, there's like a, I think it was like a dance hall. I think it was,
I
and it
can't.
was like creek ran underneath it and stuff. It was pretty wicked.
Yeah,
Um,
it was something to do with the springs or something through there. Like that's why they were trying to build up some kind of little town, and it didn't really last very long.
no, no,
Now, you saying you kind of snuck into these places? Did you ever experience anything when you guys were sneaking in?
I I didn't, but the people that we was with, they we were just going through there because we didn't really do like no investigation or anything.
Right.
We just shot the shit and just looked at, look how creepy it was. And
Right.
me myself, I was like, well, I hope I don't run into like a little doll or something because I'm out of here. I'm leaving y'all. Or one of those little kids. I
Right.
don't mess with them. But one of the kids that was with us, she experienced. Speaking of kids, she experienced like a little apparition of a kid
Hmm.
of a girl, and it touched her, and she all kind of freaked out, and
Oh
she was
man.
crying and shit. And we left on that on that night,
Oh man.
but no, we didn't really get nothing except for that.
Yeah.
But
See,
kind of
we
wish we did.
we used to go down there quite a bit, but we never actually got out of the car. I mean, it's not that we didn't want to, we was too afraid of getting busted and shit. So,
Right.
like, I always wanted to explore that hotel. I could care less about the houses because the houses had looked like you would fall through the floor. But that hotel, I always wanted to go in there.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah. It was pretty creepy.
just that little area along going down that big ass hill, and then you
Yeah.
see the hotel, then you have this old rundown house up here, and then like there's another one that was just weird in general.
Mom said that like where you can park in front of the fence,
Mm-hmm.
you can go around that little curve, and like right at that house at one time there was a guy that owned that. But mom said that you can actually talk to them and they can get in touch with the people that own it, and then they might let us or let anybody just come in there and just look and stuff.
Right.
That she heard something like that they would let you go in there and look, but I mean I don't know, but
Yeah. I wouldn't mind it.
no, me
Uh,
neither.
and like I said, me and you've known each other for years and years, and after we stopped working together, like most people do, we kind of lost touch for a little bit, and
Yeah.
he actually sold us our car here back at the beginning of the year, and we kind of reconnected after that, and then when I reached out to you about joining the team, like your immediate response was like, "Fuck yeah, dude!" So when I reached out and asked you that, like, what was your initial thought about that?
I was like, fuck yeah, dude. No, I mean I was like so pumped because I was like, I mean, watching these shows, it was like, damn, I want to do that. I mean,
Right.
I actually, want to go experience something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of, we went to Werewolf Springs, I think it was in
And Burns.
Burns.
Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of heard some shit go through there. That kind of got me amped up, a little bit. But I've always been fascinated with all this,
Mm-hmm.
and but no, that day that you told me that, I was like, fuck yeah, man. I'm ready to do
Right.
this, you know?
And I remember while we were sitting there doing all the paperwork for the car and stuff, you had mentioned a couple of times, about wanting to go with us sometime. And when we were kind of going through the transition where we was wanting to add a couple of new people, and I told Kelly, I was like, Ted would be perfect. Like he's really into this stuff. He's real enthusiastic, and I was like, I think he'd be good for it. And she was like, message him, and I was like, here we go. And so yeah, and you actually went on your first investigation, official investigation. What was it back? I guess it was September now, so a couple
Yeah.
months ago, to this place up in Kentucky, Paducah, Kentucky, called the Hotel Metropolitan. And for those that don't know, I actually just released our video from that night. It was a hopping night, and I know for Ted's very first investigation, it was super active. Um, so anybody that's listening, go to our YouTube channel and look up True Hauntings Hotel Metropolitan. There was some pretty crazy shit that happened that night. And it really didn't start, Ted, until we started playing some old music of people that used to stay there.
Right.
And we started, playing some. I think the very first song we played, I think, was a BB King song.
Yeah.
And a couple minutes later, after that song ended, we started mapping in these figures on the SLS, and so we played another song, and it looked like those figures were dancing.
Seeing that, because seeing it on TV, it don't really do it justice.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just like, oh, maybe that's just fake. They're just throwing that shit in there and all
Right.
that. No, it's not fake. Because when I saw it, my reaction was, holy fucking shit, that's actually something right there in front of us. I mean,
right.
I know we couldn't see it, but we saw it on that little screen, and
Yeah.
that blew my mind.
And like I said,
I was like, damn, it's real.
And because I remember Kelly hollering out, it's mapping in two figures, a tall one and a small one. And then when we went over there, they were there for just a couple seconds and disappeared. Then we played that next song, they both popped back up. And I mean, you've seen it clear as day. It looked like the tall one was tapping his foot to the music, and it looked like that little one was just kind of breaking it down, And right when that song turned off, they both fucking disappeared.
And see, that's what freaked me out, because I was like, really? I mean, they're only here for the party and just leave,
Right.
Like, hey, we're going somewhere else.
Right. And there was nothing over there in that area that it could have, mapped in as like a false positive, because if there was something there, it would have been mapping in. It would have mapped it in the entire time.
Right.
And so, that kind of got the activity started up. And I remember we were kind of taking a break, and you were downstairs, and you seen that door open in the kitchen the first time. And, you were just like, man, this door just opened by itself. And, that was the second time in 2 nights that the same door had opened. And, a little while later, we were taking another break, and no, we weren't even taking a break. I was videoing.
Yeah.
I think you were maybe getting a drink or something.
Yeah.
And it's actually included in the YouTube video. You can hear you say, can you open that door again? And by the time we got over there, you come walking out of the kitchen, your eyes are all big, and they're like, "Oh fuck, man!" And we're like, "What's going on?" And you were like, "I just asked us to open the door again, and it opened." So what went through your head when you witnessed that?
Well, for one, I should have brought my brown pants for that one, because I wasn't expecting that one, but I was freaked the fuck out. Seriously. I mean, that's all jokes aside. I mean, because one thing that it opens all that. I mean, yeah, that's cool. That's awesome. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
but when you ask it something and they actually do it,
Mm-hmm.
that's another whole level of like, what the fuck,
Right. When it just kind of opens and you're like, oh, hey, the door just opened. Okay, but when something happens on command like that, you're dealing with an intelligent spirit.
Yeah.
And so and I remember after that second time, we stood in that kitchen for 20 fucking minutes just filming this door, hoping it would open one more time so we could capture it.
The anticipation on that shit was just high strung, because I was sitting there like ready. I was ready for it. I was like, yeah, come on. I know, it opened for me. So come on, do it again.
And, it opened the night before when me and Kelly were there, when Miss Betty was kind of showing us around. It opened right in front of her. We kind of seen it open.
Yeah.
And after she left that night, Miss Betty, when she left, me and Kelly tried to debunk it like right then. Walking around, jumping up and down, pounding on the walls, seeing if something just kind of jarred it open, and it never moved. And when it opened that second time for you, we tried to debunk it again, and nothing.
Right.
And I think what was crazy is, the next morning when we were, telling Miss Betty about everything that happened that night, and she told us about this dude had murdered his brother in that kitchen. I was like, well, that's brand new information to me. I'm like, I wonder if that's who we was interacting with.
See, that's what I was wondering too when she was saying that, and it kind of got me a little freaked out at that moment.
I wish she would have told us beforehand, so we would have maybe had a name and stuff like that. But
yeah,
she welcomed us back anytime. So yeah, that'll be definitely a place we'll eventually go back to. And also that night, your first investigation, you did your very first Estes method. How did you enjoy that?
I enjoyed the crap out of it, and when you was explaining it to me, because I was kind of getting my mind right for it. But experiencing that was like, holy shit, because when you're in there, because you was telling me, well, you're gonna hear stuff. I mean, and it's gonna come through. And then when you mention like, you'll whatever you hear, say it. So I heard names, I heard numbers.
It said your name like 2 or 3 times.
See, I'm gonna have to watch the video just to even go back to that,
And I remember at one point after that S's session was over, we was upstairs, and I played another song. And as soon as that song turned on, you like freaked out. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what's going on? And you said you had heard that song coming through on the spirit box.
Yeah. Yeah. And to me, because I was sitting out, because I was looking at Kelly, and Kelly was like looking at me like, what is it? And I was like, I heard that fucking shit. I heard that fucking shit, I was like that, but I heard like different pieces, like, like I was saying, the numbers or the names was coming through or whatever. And then I kept hearing like bits and pieces of that song, and it was like an orchestra.
Mm-hmm.
So I should have told you about it, but but at that time I was like, well, I mean, it don't make no sense. It really don't, but it made sense later.
Right. Right. So it was almost like something was telling us to play that song.
Right.
And we got a little bit of activity after that too. I did my S's session after that, and of course my dumbass forgot to turn the IR light on, but we captured probably one of the clearest EVPs we've ever captured. Didn't even know it until a few nights later when I'm reviewing everything. And so and people can see this on our YouTube. I'm in the middle of this same hallway that we played that song, and Ted heard that song, and so Ted and Kelly's behind me. I got the blindfold on, the headphones on, and I'm just spitting out whatever I'm hearing. And at one point, you can hear Ted. He goes, "Are you Pop?" And then I say something like, "I'm just trying," or something like that. Then you hear Kelly, my wife, kind of whisper, "Who's Pop?" And then right at the camera, clear as fucking day, you hear a guy whisper, "That's not my name." And I just got the chills just saying that. I mean, that was one of the clearest things I've ever heard. And what's crazy about that, and this is why I wish I would have had night vision on, because probably a minute and a half before that, I felt something touching me on my left arm. Like the first time it did it, it kind of like caressed my arm, like went up and down 2 or 3 times. And then about 30 seconds later, it like just started poking me in the arm. That entire arm got freezing ass cold. And that was, and then we get that voice, just not a minute later. One of the most active locations this team has been to so far. And I wasn't expecting it to be as active as it was, to be honest. And
right.
It was pretty crazy. And for your first official investigation. Couldn't have went better for you, man.
I loved it. I loved every single minute of it. And you know, heck, we did that till God, I mean,
You
it was a
know,
quite a bit.
once the people that was there finally got out, we got started probably about 8:30 or 9, and with everything that was going on, I mean, I don't think we finally wrapped up to probably about 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I know it was pretty late, but
So
that
we was having stuff that happening, for 6 or 7 hours, and it was almost like nonstop after we started playing that music.
exactly.
So, I mean, if I would have known that would have been what got the stuff started, I would have played a song right off the bat because it was kind of dead for about the first 45 minutes to an hour, like nothing was
Right.
happening. And I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna play a song, and it's set it off, man. And that was one of the coolest nights I've ever had doing this.
Oh yeah.
And unfortunately, you didn't get to go with us the next round, but here in actually right at about a month, Rose Opera House up in Cynthia, Kentucky, man. We've never done Opera House, and you're going to be there to help us do it. And I think it's going to be a good night.
And it being another music thing, oh
Yeah.
yeah, I'm pumped. I'm
So
ready.
it's going to be interesting because I've heard some stuff about this place, and it's still an active theater, and there's going to be people in it right before we get in there because I think they show movies and stuff there and all kinds of stuff. So it's going to be a lot of energy going through that building during the day to kind of help stir a little bit of stuff up. So it's going to be a fun night.
But yeah, I'm ready.
So what's some of the places at some point you want this team to travel to? Like if you got to pick like our next location, where would you pick?
Well, of course, I'm going to say Waverly Hills because I've never been there.
Yeah.
But other than the Holy Grail and all that stuff,
Well,
other than that, um, I'm thinking somewhere right around in Franklin, here, Franklin. There's a couple of places that I think I want to say the Carter House around the Carter House. The Hermitage, I heard it's pretty good.
and so you got the Carter House in Franklin, you got the Lotes House in Franklin.
That's it, the Lotes House. Yes,
And
that house.
me and Kelly's been to the Lotes House. It's pretty. We went there during the day, just kind of do like the daytime tour, and it was a little strange. They actually still have like blood stains on one of the floors where like somebody like bled out during the Civil War, and that was pretty wild. And I've actually talked to the guy who oversees all that, and about coming in there, and he's told us prices and all that stuff, and it's a place I've wanted to go to for a while. And then you got the battlefield out there, and
Right.
which I've heard it's pretty active, and which that would be free. We would just have to like not get caught being out there after dark.
And one one other place is that correct me if I'm wrong. Is it the Octagon?
Octagon Hall, yeah, up in Franklin,
Yeah,
Kentucky, dude.
Yeah.
That
Because I've been hearing a lot of people, and including up there at the Paranormal Con that we just got back from. Everybody was talking about that, and I'm just like, I've never been, but I want to go.
well, I mean, I think it lives up to its reputation as being one of the most haunted places in the South, and actually the place where we're going now in January, the old Stone Jail up in Franklin, Kentucky, it's like 5 minutes from the Octagon, and
Oh shit!
so we'll probably go up a little bit early, and just to check out the Octagon because I know you've never been,
Right.
and it's a totally different vibe during the day though, but at night, man, it's like that motherfucker comes alive. It's it's pretty crazy, and you just mentioned the Paracon. We did our had our first convention just here a couple of weeks ago, the Phantom Paws and Historic Calls Paracon here in Tennessee, Lebanon, Tennessee. That was a good time. I mean, that was really fun, and I think we talked to more people than I was expecting to,
Right.
and more than just a quick "Hey, how's it going?" and keep walking. Like we had people standing there legit talking to us for 15, 20 minutes at a time,
Right.
and I think what drew a lot of people in, especially those couple of guys, is because we had our equipment out. I don't think anybody else had their equipment out.
No, no,
And
because they had like candy or something they're selling or
yeah,
something like that.
hell, we
But
could have
yeah,
sold our equipment. I had that old woman pick up something, and she's like, "How much for this?" And I'm like, "It's not for sale. I'm sorry." But yeah, man, that was really fun, and I'm glad he was able to make it to our first Paracon. Actually, I think the whole team minus Adam, yeah, the whole team minus Adam was able to make it, and but of course, he's still going through physical therapy and stuff. So yeah, it was a good time, and I think they're going to try to do it again next year, and it was really fun. So, what are you going to do when you actually witness like some legit paranormal activity, like something being knocked off a shelf, or you see a full blown apparition? How are you going to react to that? Like,
no promises.
because I don't want to come chasing you down and bringing you back in, man.
No, no. I'm probably going to react of like I did with the door,
Right,
kind of like holy shit,
right.
and then have to have some brown pants on that one, because literally, because yeah, it's gonna be wild if because I know it's going to happen, and I've been, you know, I'm wanting to say, well, I'm going to prepare for it, but you
You,
really can't,
yeah, you can't really
you know,
prepare for that because you go in with the mindset that you know anything can happen,
right,
but you don't know when it's going to happen, what's going to happen. None of that. So you're prepared, but you're not prepared.
right,
And so, I, personally, I don't think you're ever prepared for what happens because you don't know
no,
what's going to happen. And so, and and I want to give you props, dude. When you went on that first investigation with us, you know, in my head, I was thinking, he's not going to be very active. This is his first time. He's going to just kind of sit back. Man, you jumped right in there. You took a camera and you just started going off. And I got to give you props for that, dude, for that being your first time. You acted like it was like your 10th time. And so, I give you props for that. Where a lot of people on their first time would be kind of nervous and just kind of shy away and just kind of watch it first. But no, I mean, you just jumped right the fuck in there, and I thought that was awesome, man.
uh, speaking of like preparing and stuff like that, um, I had a mindset of like, I'm going to clear my head. I'm going to not think about shit. I'm just going to go with a clear mind, open mind,
Hmm.
and just go from it,
Yeah,
and just do it, balls to the wall.
right. That's more or less what you got to do. I mean, it's like we say, you don't really know what's going to happen. You can't. You can try to be prepared, but at the same time, expect the unexpected. So, and I really wish you'd have been there last year with us when that pitcher got knocked off the wall. I I remember when I first sent you that video, your reaction just through text was like, "Holy shit, man!" I was like, "Hey, man, that was wild stuff." And
I literally had cold chills, and I even have cold chills right now to even talking about it. I mean, that's freaking wild.
so how would you react? Say me and you swap shoes, and that was you that captured that. How would you react?
There would have been a lot of holy fucking shit. I ain't gonna lie on that one. I probably would have went crazy. Like far as crazy, like just expressing my like
Right.
holy fuck.
It was, man. I've watched that video. I know at least 150 times, and I get the chills every single time I watch it. It's just
Yeah.
one of those things that I've been told by a lot of like seasoned investigators is probably one of the best pieces of evidence they've ever seen. And it was captured out of sheer luck because, you know, you're in the dark, and so I was actually looking in the hall, I wasn't actually really looking at the screen. And so I wasn't really sure where I was even pointing the camera when it happened. And it was wild as shit, dude. And I hope at some point you get to experience something like that, whether
Oh
it's a
yeah.
picture being knocked off the wall or something being shoved off a shelf or hell, something being thrown at you. I've had stuff thrown at me before at Brushy Mountain, and when you're just standing there asking questions and you hear a rock crash right behind you,
Yeah, that'll make you shit your pants on that one.
So next year, now we've actually already got one plan for the beginning of the year, the Old Stone Jail. We have our first elementary school. We're going to try to hit up in Ohio. I think that one's going to be cool. I think that one's going to be big enough to where we might not even see each other throughout the night.
See, talking about that elementary school, I'm probably gonna be leaving some people. I ain't gonna lie.
I'm pretty sure there's probably going to be some dolls spread throughout this building.
I gotta get over my fear of that shit. I have to.
I mean,
I
and,
mean,
and and speaking of dolls, I mean they have like dolls in Octagon. Yeah,
see, and then I don't know where it is, but they got a doll island that's supposed to be like highly
yeah.
active.
I think that's like overseas somewhere. I think,
I think so,
but
but I'm glad it's over there, not here.
but yeah. So now we got the Old Stone Jail planned for next year. Actually, just here in a couple of months, we got Post Town Elementary. We plan on returning to Brushy Mountain, which you're gonna love Brushy, man. Just
I
the
can't
his
wait.
the history of it alone is gonna blow your mind, dude. And we may have to put you down in the hole by yourself for a little bit.
Oh yeah,
And then we're wanting to go back to Octagon Hall next year. And then I think we're talking about doing the walking horse hotel. So we've got a pretty exciting year lined up next year,
I'm so ready for it.
and hopefully by the time we hit up Post Town, we'll have some new toys to play with. So I really want to get a thermal camera, and that'll be fun to play with.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, man. I had something I was going to ask you just a second ago, and I went fucking blank on it. But hey, that's how we do it here. We
Oh
just
yeah.
we just go with the flow.
Just wing it.
That's the best way to do it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, is there anything you want to ask me? You want to be the interviewer for a minute?
There's not really, because my head is just like,
Oh man, well Ted, I've been wanting to get you on here and talk to you for a minute. Kind of
oh yeah,
introduce our listeners to our teammates and stuff. I did one with me and Josh. I've been wanting to get you on here and chat with you. I want to do Mark, and so I want to try to get as many of the team members on here to kind of talk and chat. I know you've been on a couple of episodes with us. I think you might have been a little gun shy because you didn't talk too much, but hey,
yep.
but it happens.
I'm getting there.
Yeah, yeah, you are. So, but man, I really enjoyed this.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, here in about a month, we're gonna hit up that Opera House, and we're gonna tear it up, man. It's gonna be fun, and
Oh, of course.
I've been kind of racking my brain on some stuff to try up there. I don't know if I'm gonna try it with you or try it with myself or Kelly or who. It'll probably end up
Right.
being one of the guys because I may think of some crazy shit that the girls may not want to do. So, like,
Bring it on. Just like The Rock says, bring it on. So,
right?
Yeah.
May leave you somewhere by yourself for a few minutes to see how that works out.
Oh yeah.
Like way by yourself. Like we have to run to get to you if something happens.
Oh shit.
Oh man, hopefully you'll get touched or something that night, man. That's pretty wild to experience too.
Oh yeah. I'm waiting on it.
It'll happen in due time, sir. Well, Ted, again, I thank you, buddy, and everybody. For Ted Edney, I'm Damien from RKB Paranormal. We'll catch you guys next time.
See y'all.